It's a beautiful Friday morning, and I am excited to be with you here today on Business Insights, a show put together for you to enable you get answers to some of your business-related questions. My name is Grace Komalafe, and I will be on the wheel today. Today we want to look at a very critical aspect in Nigeria, and that has to do with the future of telecommunication in Nigeria. In 2013, the government actually put up a plan to ensure that by 2015 there will be a broadband penetration of 70%. And today we want to look into this, how far this plan has gone, how is the progress so far, and other related issues that concern you and me within the telecommunications industry. Of course, we'll have a guest in the house, and to speak to this topic, we will be having a guest, and but before we do so, before we introduce our guest, we'll call for a break. Let's go for a short break at the moment. When we come back, we'll bring in our guest who will be taking us through this topic. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timida Kolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you're on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timida Kolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
Welcome back. It's Business Insight, and thank you for joining us. Before we went on that short break, I said we'll be looking at the Nigerian's telecommunication industry, specifically the future, as government actually planned to have a 70% penetration, a 70% broadband penetration in 2025. Here we are, 2023, and we want to measure the results. So far, so good. What has been the result, and what are other related things we need to dive into? And to have this conversation, we have a business manager of over 15 years in the telecommunication industry, and of course is a public speaker of several fronts. Currently, he is the manager, MTN Connect, Lokoja, and the general manager administration of Premium First YISAB, a telecom trade partner with branches across Nigeria. I guess he is a good fit for this topic, right? So he is no other but Salihu Aroma Emmanuel. Salihu Aroma Emmanuel, it's nice having you on Business Insights this morning. Good morning. Kindly unmute your phone. Unmute yourself. Aroma, can you hear me? Kindly unmute. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay, so knowing that you've got some experience in this industry,
nice
we are sure you will be able to take care of lots of questions around here this morning. So in 2023, the government actually put up a plan. They launched the National Broadband Plan, which is NBP, which aimed to further give access to internet and of course affordability, create affordability in Nigeria. And of course they are looking at getting 70% penetration in 2025. We are in 2023 already, and you being in that industry, you should be able to tell us to a large extent how much of the success have been recorded. Can you please speak to this?
Okay, thank you so much. The federal government of Nigeria has, through their national broadband policy, a target of 70% broadband penetration across the country by year 2025. It's a target. And the telcos have swung into action even before this year and have actually been taking that up. As we speak today, the telcos have achieved close to 50% penetration accomplishment across the country. So the train is moving. Thank you.
All right. So how well would you say that this will actually affect Nigeria economy?
Oh, fantastically well. In the first place, we are coming to a scenario in our country where internet connectivity will be very swift, very easy, and very reachable. We'll be able to have that. Also, we are coming to that point in our country where telecom services will be very customer-centric, and the ease of accessibility will help. And this will help businesses generally. The world is a global village, and I'd like you to know that for most of our business operations in the country, whichever sector it is, whether in the oil and gas, whether in agriculture, you agree with me that definitely we'll need internet accessibility for lots of successes and reach. And that's what the telecom industry will be achieving by this broadband penetration, to make the world to be at our reach and to make the ease of doing business very, very possible. And of course, this will contribute to the gross domestic product of the country, both for every sector that will leverage on this broadband and also for the telecoms industry that will as well be running business much more by the reason of this advent. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's look at investment by telecom companies. in the first 9 months of 2022, two major telecommunication companies actually invested 468.94 billion naira, and and in expanding the nation's broadband infrastructure, and that actually marked a significant move, 33.93% increase from the corresponding period in 2021. So I want to ask, this investment, would you say is as a result of the plan which the government already put in place, working towards 2025, or basically it's just business as usual? Yeah, I have a business I'm running, there's a need for me to continue to expand it. And it's another thing to say, oh, there is a focus pitched by the government and we need to harness it. We need to join hands together to do this. So which of this would you say this is? I'd like to speak to it.
Okay, it's a double-edged sword, so to say, but more importantly, I'd like to mention that we have a very pragmatic regulation in our country, and that's the NCC. The NCC, it's very proactive, and they are doing all they can to ensure that a telecom sector is very fantastic. So based on government regulations, with this target of national broadband policy, this is working. It's also contributory to why we have the huge investment increase or increment that currently exists within the space of time that you have mentioned. So that's one major reason, and a very prime reason. Then secondly, also, I'd like us to know that the telecom sector, of course, the industries, they are actually in business to survive. And one of the things that is key to the telecoms industry is initiative and innovation. And that's what the telecom companies are leveraging on also. There's a whole lot to achieve. There's a whole lot to attain, in this tech sector, especially in the ICT. And that's why you see the telecoms company coming up with these investments, because they need to expand business as well so that they can make profit as well as serve customers very, very efficiently. The end users must be very satisfied. So it's a two-edged sword, and that's why it is like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that insight. So, we've actually mentioned increased investment, and still along the line, we see lots of new launch of new broadband services, coming into the industry. And one would think that, oh, do they even make it at all? Do they make profit? Are these people just injecting money into it? So we'd like you to speak to, you want to call it profitability in the industry, you want to call it returns, you want to call it gain. Can you speak to this to a large extent? How well is the industry doing financially?
Okay, the industry is doing very robust financially because the patronage is increasing. Many more Nigerians are getting aware of the use of the telecoms facilities, and they are really leveraging on it. As we speak, the penetration into the rural areas is increasing, both the underserved and those that, of course, are already being served. So I like to say that it's not a docile sector at all. And financially, the sector is doing very well. The returns on investment is also very significant. There is no room for discouragement at all. And I like to say that there's so much ground yet to cover in Nigeria, and the telecoms company are really, really doing so much about that. So it's financially profitable. Many Nigerians leverage on telecoms as we speak now. You'll agree with me that it has made ease of communication very, very fantastic. You don't need to travel to Kaduna from Abuja to reach somebody. You can just make calls. And what do? You will buy your airtime, you will do your subscription, and you will do that. So Nigerians place so much priority on this, and they are not taking it for granted at all. So it's very profitable. The investment is not a waste at all. Thank you. Hello.
All right, sincere apologies for that interruption. And so I take you back to the next, the question I was asking earlier. So I was talking about competitiveness and acceptability in the industry. Some business environments are very hostile that the new ones find it difficult, you know, to settle. Of course, we've got to see some telecommunication services come in a period of time, in fact, not even taking so much time at all, they just, you know, they dash out. We've seen some selling off to other companies and all of that. So I would like you to speak to, you know, how well is the business environment, how friendly it is, because this might just be a take home for one or two persons, especially business enthusiasts.
Okay. Typical of the Nigerian situation, the telecoms industry, of course, have got their challenges over the years. I like to say that we have issues that confront us, or challenges that confront us, range. You know, it takes a whole lot to set up Bistram effectively. Most of the times we cannot guarantee, you know, adequate power supply. So we have to run on generators. That's what the telecoms industry, most of them do. I know that is capital intensive also. But of course, the power challenge is there, yet the industry must still survive. So they try to weather through that storm. Again, the challenge of insecurity, you know, in the wake of terrorism and insurgencies and their likes and banditries and all of those, the telecoms infrastructures have equally been terribly hit, you know, across the country. And that's also a setback and also a challenge that the industry is confronted with. But the companies are still working hard, assiduously, to see that there are restoration of services in locations like that and to run. So invariably, I agree with you that the challenges are there. However, I like to still maintain and say that the business is very lucrative in this country. Many Nigerians have embraced this. Their awareness is very high, and several persons are willing to actually patronize this sector. You have even market women who are maybe semi-illiterate or not even schooled at all, using the telephone set now, you know, the handset. That's fantastic. You get advertorials, even, you know, local languages, and color tones in local languages and like that. So it's really trickling down, and Nigerians have embraced it. It has made the industry and the business very, very worthwhile and profitable. And in spite of the challenges, like I've highlighted a few already, the industry is still moving on. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So because you've made mention of the local environment, the market women, and, you know, the far-reached people, so I'm just going to skip this question. Probably we'll come back to it later. Let's talk about network coverage. I remember 19, 20 years ago, precisely 2003, 2004, You know, of course, that was the peak period for internet services into Nigeria. The entrance, you know, the acceptance was massive. That I agree. But in the rural area, way back in school, we had to hang our phones to the wall and put our ears to listen, to take calls from people in the urban areas, you know, schooling outside, far away from Lagos, you know. And sometimes we had to go on top of the hills just to have this connection. So I want you to speak to, you know, network coverage. How well would you say this has improved over time? Because I know that there is a digital divide, you know, there is this digital divide between the rural and the urban areas when you don't have so much of that connectivity or access to internet. So could you please speak to this, the improvement and all of that?
Okay, yeah. I agree with you that at the advent of the telecom sector in Nigeria, you know, when we had basically the GSM, you know, the coverage was pretty minimal. But you see, over the years, it had grown. There have been lots of penetration. There have been lots of coverage across the country. I like to say that as it is today, our telecoms industries or the network providers are seriously into rural telephony, you know, and they are coming up with newer concepts and dimensions by which the rural areas can be covered. And I can assure you that as we speak today, a whole lot has happened in that industry. And you know, many Nigerians have been reached, and many Nigerians are still being reached with the services of the telcos. You see, we have even gone beyond just GSM. We have even gone to very enhanced data coverage for the use of our customers. As we speak, you know, still talking about the broadband, you will agree with me, like I mentioned, that almost 50% have been covered already. And with the spread and penetration of the optic fiber, data connectivity is becoming better. The NCC is also making frantic efforts to ensure that even data coverage is very high. You know, they are looking at not just the about 45,000 kilometers coverage. They are looking at up to 95,000 kilometer coverage of you know, the optic fibers and like that. So a whole lot is happening, and it's getting better. Apart from GSM usage by customers and clients, I like you to know that even data is really on the rise. Lots of introduction of newer technologies are coming in. For instance, we have the embedded SIMs now, you know, and that's another phase altogether. We're coming to a point where even our handsets, our handheld devices will not even use the plastic SIM cards anymore. So much is happening in the industry, and the coverage is getting wider and wider. I agree with you that we are not 100% there yet, but with the spate of coverage, we will definitely do very well and better within a short while. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You know, you have mentioned data. You've talked about data briefly, and that will just bring me to this topic. Of course, a lot of investment has gone into this expansion of broadband, and we are seeing positive impact, really. But of course, let's come to pricing, you know, the usage of data, and what do you look at? How do you consider the consumers? What are the measures you put in place before you say, oh, this A should be for this and this should be for B? You know, I'm talking about considering consumers, you know, with the use of data.
Okay, thank you so much. What the telcos really do is that there's a lot of market strategy that is being put into place to ensure that consumers get the very best, okay, in terms of pricing and in terms of the access they have to data bundles. You see, in the telecom sector, we have several offers, like that, to help consumers really benefit from, the services that the telcos offer. For instance, to make it easier, the telcos have actually been able to get targeted audience, and they make various data products available, or data bundles available based on target audience. For instance, if you're a student, I'd like you to know that there are data bundle or data subscription plans that are seen to be very compatible with students, and they can go for that. And if you're, for instance, a corporate entity, there are data bundles that are available for corporate entities. For instance, if you're somebody that maybe could take time out to surf the internet at night, there are data bundles that are convenient for people like that. So the telecoms industry is actually into serious market strategy, and they are looking at consumer psychology, and they are looking at market intelligence to ensure that data services gets to every end user. Again, I like to say that you can get very low profile data subscription plans. Are you getting it? You can imagine a data subscription plan that is as low as 100 naira, a daily plan, for instance. So it's now at your convenience. If you do not want to do maybe a weekly plan or a monthly plan, you can make do with a daily plan. And if you feel, man, I may not need a whole month subscription, I'll just need a weekly subscription that is available and affordable. So the market intelligence and the consumer consideration has made it very easy for users, the end users, to be able to access data. And I tell you, it's a lot better, and it's going to get a lot better the more. Thank you.
All right, Emmanuel, thank you so much. And I'm going to take this one more question and we'll go on break. And when we come back, we'll take the rest of the questions. Well, I want to speak on behalf of some people, so nothing personal, but because you mentioned the end users with their daily plans and weekly plans and all of that. So I've seen people say, oh, I did a daily plan. And of course, when you say it's a daily plan, probably it's expected to last for the whole day. And when you say it's a weekly plan, probably it's supposed to be for the whole week. But surprisingly, sometimes a daily plan, in the next 30 minutes, you're done with it. The weekly plan in 2-3 days is exhausted. So, I mean, what do you want to say to this? Is it the speed? Is it the consumption? And how do you think telecommunications companies could do better, considering the end users?
Okay, thank you for that all-important question, because it's something that borders on customer experience. And I like to say that it does happen, but you see, it's most of the times no fault of the telecoms company. It's actually the volume of usage of the consumer. For instance, if you subscribe to maybe a 150 megabyte data for 24 hours, maybe at 100 naira, take note of the fact that what you subscribe to is 150 megabytes. And ordinarily, it's expected that, oh man, you surf the internet, you browse, and then you go off and come again later, and like that. But you see, if you decide to give into a very heavy usage, maybe you have to download lots of files and like that, that is beyond 150 megabyte data requirements, I can assure you that once you exhaust the 150 megabyte data requirement, you will be out of data plan, because you have had to surf very heavy. So, and for such, that is why we have options where you can decide to subscribe for maybe 750 megabytes for maybe 1 week or for 3 days, as the case may be. So it's important that you know that while we are looking at the duration, we're also looking at the volume of data that will be available based on subscription. And should you exhaust that volume within a shorter period from the duration that is stipulated, you will definitely run out of data and you may need to resubscribe again to have more data. So that's the way it works. But be that as it may, if for instance you have network issues, maybe connectivity issues, and you couldn't access your data, and maybe the duration, the stipulated duration elapses, you can equally still lodge your complaints, and the telecoms industry can give you a compensation and stuff like that. That will happen with the customer relations unit of these telcos. They really look at that and they ensure that customers are comfortable. But that's because they have ascertained that it's a network challenge. It's no fault of yours. They can do refunds, as the case may be. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Salifu Emmanuel. And well, I mean, if I should stay here and continue to speak on behalf of end users, probably that would just be the whole of the questions we will be taking till the end of the show. But that's fine. Let's go on a short break at the moment. And when we come back, we will be taking the other part of the program. Please stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
My name is Olatunji Shoti. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timidakolo and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News for everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news. Souq News is your station.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Business Insight, and we have been speaking with Salifu Emmanuel on the topic 70% broadband by 2025. That's a plan put together by the federal government, and of course we've been speaking on exploring Nigeria's telecommunications future. Yes, and moving on, Emmanuel, it's good to know you are still around with us, and we'll just go into the next topic. Let's look at telecommunication and technology, technology expansion in telecommunication. So like I said earlier when I started, I spoke about the two major telecommunication companies that invested 468.96 billion naira in expanding the nation's broadband infrastructure. So I remember going forward in the research I did, they actually deployed a good number of 4G sites and 5G sites during this period. And according to those findings, the capital expenditure, particularly on 4G and 5G network, increased by 45.2%. So let's bring it to technology expansion. What's the importance of technologies in enhancing, internet speed and capability?
Okay, the impact is very huge, actually. The impact is huge. You see, for instance, with advanced technology, like the 4G broadband, internet speed is faster. And that makes performance easier for subscribers, whether in the business industry, whether in the medical industry, whether in the agricultural sector, whichever sector. Once you can get very good data speed, then you are there. So with the deployment of the 4G and the 5G network, this is to really help, data speed and performance. Then again, there will be a lot of technological support for industries with the advent of the 5G network technology. From the field of the pharmaceuticals to several other fields, even engineering. And that's why this is very, very key and useful. You see, there will be lots of digital literacy that will happen because of the quality of data performance, coming through the advent of the 4G and the 5G deployment. And this is good for educational institutions. So on a very large scale, I like to submit that the advent of the 4G network, the 5G network is beneficial to, sectoral performances across board. And I like also to submit that the investment is indeed very huge. It takes a whole lot, especially like I mentioned, the spread of the optic fiber cable, that takes a whole lot. Of course, it is inevitable because it's a digital transformation we are looking at in here. And at the end of the day, it's going to be very, very worthwhile for us. This 4G and 5G technology, especially the 5G, will even help in software infrastructures and development because the internet productivity and performance will be very, very high. So on the whole, it's worthwhile. The investment is high, but the impact on every user is also very, very colossal. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's look at the growth, for small-scale businesses, individuals, end users, what is the growth like, speaking in numbers? And of course, are there implications when it comes to this digital inclusion?
Okay. The growth rate of this technology on the end users is really massive. As we speak, I would like to submit that well over 80% of business persons, whether small-scale businesses or medium-scale businesses or micro size industries, have seriously benefited from the telecoms industry and all of the offers that come from that industry. For instance, not many persons travel anymore to purchase their products. They just make their supplies over the air. And their suppliers, acknowledge their orders and, of course, go ahead to embark on delivery. You now see people do way bills of their products and they get it at their destination because of the advent of the telecoms technology. You also can see that even mobile money transactions, not many persons go to a queue at the banking halls anymore to get transactions done. You don't need to go and start filling deposit slips and all of those. You can transfer from your handset, transfer funds, make payments for your stock, make payments for your business orders, and then you get stuff done, delivered to you. So I like to say that over 80% or nothing less than 80% of businesses are benefiting seriously from the advent of the telecoms technology. And I like to also mention that the mobile financial system has come on board. And that is going to be another stream of business altogether for teaming Nigerians. That's why you see several persons who are now POS operators and like that. Those POS terminals use SIM cards. And that has made mobile financial transactions a whole lot easier and worthwhile. So it's something that is taking the toll on the lives of Nigerians positively. And I'd like you to know that in no distant time, with the mobile financial system, you will even get people, transferring from their phones at filling stations and getting their filled, getting their tanks filled, and in restaurants and in many places. And this will bring us much more to that cashless policy that the federal government of Nigeria is canvassing for, even through the CBN. So there's a whole lot in for every Nigerian subscriber, telco subscriber that is patronizing the industry. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I think that's also actually addressed the economic and social implications, if you ask me. You've actually taken care of that. And I must say that knowledge is power. A lot of people, you just see them carry the POS, around, and you don't even know. You just think it's more like a computer, a mini, computer where you take care of stuffs, not even knowing perhaps you have SIM card in it. So if you don't know, now you know. So before we take to the next question, all right, I wanted us to talk about the challenges, but first let's look at government policies, initiatives that are supporting the 70% broadband penetration, right? And of course, regulatory frameworks that are giving conducive environment, for telecom businesses. Can you please speak to this?
Okay, thank you. Looking at government regulations and the involvement in the telecoms industry and the performance, I'd like to say that government have fared very well, through the NC, the regulatory body, the industry. How do I mean? For instance, looking at this 70% penetration of broadband by 2025, the NC have not had access at all. They have not rested on their oars. As at 2016, the NCC, gave licensing rights to about 2 infrastructural companies to embark on this. And they felt they were not getting the desired results. And I think by 2018, they increased it to like 5 of them. And currently, there are nothing less than 7 of them. So the government have really played a part in the area of licensing to ensure that there is, the prerogative to be able to embark on this penetration and expansion that we're talking about. As expected. Then you look at the area of regulations generally. The NCC, on behalf of the government, have really parleyed with the telecoms companies to ensure that the pulses of customers are felt, and the pangs of doing business in Nigeria based on some of the challenges that are inherent are also felt. And government now is in the position to how they can assist, anywhere possible, telecom industries to clear. And that really helps. For instance, we support some, the agencies called upon, in terms of in times of security, issues that threaten the telecoms industry. So government is fantastic. And I like to say that so far so good. 70% target is what is set for 2025. But as we speak today, we are close to 50%. We are well over 45.57% of penetration. So it's really a success story. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. I think you just took that off my mouth. I wanted to, bring that just right after you, saying that at the moment, according to my findings, I think the achievement so far is 45%. Fine, but we'll have 2 years to go. Can you speak to this? Looking at the time frame, 2023, 2025, would you say 70% is achievable come 2025? Would you say this?
Yes, very achievable. Very achievable. I'd like to say to you that as we speak, the NCC is already reviewing extent of achievement and penetration and performance. And I'd like you to know that they are already in talks with telecom just to ensure that there are no hiccups and this is I'd like to say it's attainable, it's achievable, and it will be attained, be achieved by the grace of God.
All right, thank you very much. Let's look at innovations. Thank you. Let's look at innovations. So let's speak to technologies like AI, IoT, and blockchain. How do you think they might be shaping the Nigeria's telecommunication industry in the future?
Okay, I like to say that as far as the telecoms industry is concerned, innovations keep streaming in. And I'd like you to know that these are being embraced by the telecoms industry. And the essence is that all hands must be on deck to ensure that whatever will be very useful to the end users eventually is delivered to them. And you see, with all of these innovations that are coming in, I'd like you to know that we are now heading towards the artificial intelligence dispensation. We're now coming to a point where you will discover that a whole lot of mindsets will be shaped by technology. We're going to be having experience centers. The way we are going to, the way we are running now, will come to a point where we'll have experience centers by the aid of all of this innovation you have mentioned, where you will even get to maybe a customer serving point and you do not see anybody there. You just communicate with the gadgets that are there and you get results. Take, for instance, the dimension of the embedded SIM. We're coming to a point where there will be so much of the patronage and the usage of the embedded SIM, what we call the eSIM, such that you don't even need to start. If you want to switch from one network provider to another, you don't need to start going to change the plastic SIMs. There and there on the spot on your phone, you can change between networks. Why? Because it's an embedded SIM. It's not a SIM that is particular to a particular network provider at all. So I'd like you to know that a whole lot is in place, and by reason of innovation, lots more are coming on board for the end users at the end of the day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I like to say this again, yes, I want you to speak to it. So Nigeria is known as the regional leader in telecommunication and digital innovation. So what is the vision for Nigeria digital leadership? What are the future plans, especially with this concentration of 90% and penetration in 2025?
Okay. Can I get that question again, please?
Is known as the regional leader in telecommunication and digital innovation. So okay, as a leader, what are the plans? What are the vision? What are the digital plans as leader? Looking at the long-term benefits, specifically now we know we are looking at 70% penetration in 2025. So we are looking beyond 2025. What are the future plans, even as a leader in telecommunication and digital space?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I agree with you that we are regional leaders already, in this industry. For instance, take our population. Nigeria is a country that is over 200 million population, 200 million people in population, and that speaks volumes. What does this eventually amount to? It means that we have the strength to muster, to make impact in the regional space. And how will this happen? With this broadband penetration, we're looking at 70% target. What this means is that eventually we will have very high-tech network performance, especially with the advent of the 5G. And this will be very impactful in the educational sector. Look at how eventually Nigeria will be leading maybe of research and development for scholars and for students and for government. It's going to aid policy formulation and policy implementation very greatly. Statistical data will be easier to collate. The NBS will not have so much stress anymore. And that will also help us to be able to look at data even across the region, because the facilities will be very available, courtesy of the 5G network and of course the broad penetration that we are talking about. Then look at the area of military. You will discover that there will be a whole lot of security improvements. It will be easier to track crime. For instance, we have webcams that are already available that can work with the 5G technology. And when these are mounted in places, in institutions, in offices, in companies, in establishments and outfits, you will discover that there are extra eyes. You will discover that it will be easier for the policing of the society. It will be easier for military intervention, because the broadband network, the 5G network will bring about a whole lot of information collation, on the spot information collation, and this will even help the region when Nigeria is
right.
intervening in security
Yes.
dimensions.
All
So
right,
there's a whole
thank you
lot
very
in
much,
place. And then you look
Salif
at performances
Emmanuel.
of
We're just
industries.
going to take this last question for another 1 or 2 minutes. They say that the road cannot be all run rosy without, a little ups and downs. Yes, despite the beautiful insights you have given us, you have shared. In few words, what are the challenges and what are you advising as a way forward as we wrap up the show for today?
Okay. Infrastructural challenges. How accessible are many of our rural locations? We would want to spread coverage for how accessible are many of our rural locations. We want to request that God please look into infrastructures. Let be road networks that can aid movement of equipment to these locations, so that this coverage can be easier. Then the area of security. We will really need, a secured society to be able to spread. It will interest you to know that over the years, the telecom industry have tried to spread, but they have been hampered in some locations, especially a few years back in the northeast, for instance, or as it is now in the southeast, with the challenges of insecurity. You even see many of the telecom infrastructures being vandalized and being destroyed. Then the costs of performance. If the standard of living is very high, the cost of importation is high, definitely this will affect performance, because some of these equipment are usually imported into the country. So can we look at local industrialization? the Ajakuta Steel Company, can we make it work? Can take care of several things. Can we improve on power supply so that can be easier? So these are some of the challenges that the telecoms sector is facing, and these are things that can be resolved with the aid of government as well. So these are the dimensions I would want to just chip in. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the beautiful insights you've given to us so far on the program today. I want to say thank you. Emmanuel is a business manager of over 15 years in telecom industry, and of course the manager of MTN Connect, Lokoja. I want to say a special thank you for coming. Thank you. All right, and that will be all on Business Insight for today. Until next time, we will be coming your way. I remain Grace Komalafe. Do have an amazing Friday. Bye.